Welcome back. You're watching Morning Express. And just to reintroduce our guest this morning, we have Canon Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer, as well as former Mwingi Central Member of Parliament John Mutambo, joining us via Zoom to talk about the biggest conversation and topic this morning that has to do with the Senate meeting for yet another time. Hopefully this will be the time where this is done with. But of course, there is a lot of division between the senators, and we shall be looking at how they might vote and why certain formulas are better than the others. So welcome to the show, or rather to this conversation, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now, I'll start with you. Yeah, I will start with you, Mr. Weda. Let's take a look at the various formulas, and we have one that is being fronted by Senator Petronilla Were, that is being backed by governors and apparently Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And this one proposes that we're going to have the same 316 billion, but then if an additional funds that will come in to push it up to 348, then they will be, shared, in different ways based on the formulas that has been proposed. So what do you make of that, and do you think this is the way to go?
No, I think that is basically they want to go around the Constitution. The formula is supposed to be a basic constitutional instrument for sharing revenue equitably among the counties. Now, that formula suggests where you have the ordinary formula, and then if there is extra, then you do something else. Now,
yes,
that will be outside the Constitution. I think the reality we have to face is that prior, we had used a faulty formula. We had used a formula which we call equitable, which did not take into account parameters like population. It laid more emphasis on size, landmass. So eventually, when the new figure, the population figures came out, they were done, it turned out that the previous figures, some of them were falsified.
Right.
So they showed some counties had a lot of, had quite a number of people. It turned out they have fewer people. Now that is what is leading to the loss of revenue for those counties. Now, these formulas are being brought so that nobody loses money. But that is contrary to the figures, contrary to the law, contrary to what requires to be done. What I think it should be a formula as proposed by the CRA, and then those counties that will lose because we had relied on false figures,
yes,
another vote may be given to them as aid to cushion them, but it cannot be part of the formula. How does it turn out that, for instance, Tarakaniti originally had figures showing there were very many people? It has turned out that there are very few people. How does it turn out that now we used to pay about a percentage for landmass? That is what is being reduced by 2%. When 2% is translated into billions of shillings, is a lot of money. Those are some of the areas that are causing the losses of revenue to some counties, and therefore the contention. Added to the pain because of the changes that took place in the Senate, some people are still grumbling, some people are still feeling pain. So we should not mix these two to make us continue with the wrong formula we have had before. That would be wrong. It is time that we put money for services where there are people, and then we have funds to cushion those who have been who had previously been left behind. But you cannot be punished because Kakamega, there are more people. We punish them because we love landmass so much in another part of the country.
Right. Honorable Mutambo, what do you make of the Priscilla Were formula that is being backed by the President, ODM leader, as well as the Council of Governor Chair, Wycliffe Oparanya?
Ambrose has just said it has to be based on the law.
Yes.
And what I know is that the county revenue, division of revenue bill, it has to go through the National Assembly first before it goes to Senate. That is what the law says. The law says that this discussion is supposed to be introduced in Parliament, National Assembly, not the Senate. Senate just discuss how the formula how the counties share. Remember, what they are discussing has already been passed by Parliament.
Yes.
It has become law. The money they are discussing is law. It has already been passed in Parliament. So when they try to introduce another motion in Parliament, I think that is confusing Kenyans more than the way it is, because the law does not say like that. We need to follow the law, number one. Number two, when we talk of equity in our country and just, I want to differ a bit with the Abros there, because the sharing of revenue should be scientific. What do I mean when I say it should be scientific? Every Kenyan has got a right to services. And the reason why we locate resources to the counties is to offer services to Kenyans. And I will argue it this way, that from where I sit, when we talk of land mass, the person who is living 100 or 200 kilometers away from their neighbor, they deserve to get clean water, they deserve to get health, they deserve a good road, they deserve all these facilities. And one would argue, where would you spend more money to give water to people? Are you going to spend more money to give people water who are in one square kilometer, or you are going to spend more money on those people who live in 100 square kilometers? Where are you going to spend more money? So to me, I think this issue should be handled with a lot of sobriety, and people need to come on the table and discuss on how to offer services to Kenyans, as opposed to the issue of the numbers and the landmass and all these kind of things. And I believe the Commission of Revenue allocation, these are the things they were to consider. But once we say that we are many and we need to get more money, then that becomes politics. It becomes political. And the moment we get political blood into this revenue division, it will never be resolved. And what I want also to tell Kenyans that these things have been happening. Counties have been receiving revenue. There are counties who have been receiving more money than others. And it has been happening because there's been tranquility within the leadership, and the people were agreeing. People were coming on the table. We are now getting to hear this because people are not coming to the table.
And that is the bone of contention, Honorable Mutambo. Now, let's shift. There's a problem with your sound. Let's shift to Mr. Wedder and just figure this out. When we talk about this new formula that is getting a lot of support from political leaders, when you look at the numbers, or rather the thing that is being praised about it is that nobody is going to suffer. But then when you look at the legalities of it, or rather the numbers, you find that there are counties that are going to actually lose in this one, and that is where the argument has been from the beginning. For example, Mandera will lose 1.3 billion shillings. So is it even possible, is it feasible to have a formula that would actually have everyone, nobody actually losing out, or rather losing their previous allocation in terms of the finances?
Yeah, it is possible. I think it is possible to decide that from this place we want to now do things right. The previous formulae that have been used have had problems, as I mentioned earlier. One, there were fake census results which were used. The primary material used to draw this, to make this, to divide revenue is number one, population. Number two, poverty index. Number three, then you look at the land mass. Number four, services. But the core thing is population, poverty index, and so on. Now, these are the things which had been previously falsified. After the last census, which is a bit more scientific, it turned out that the false census which had been previously used has been busted. Now, that is one of the reasons why some counties are losing. And we should acknowledge and say, here, we made a mistake, we did it wrong, we want to do it right. Then we put in the correct formula according to law, according to population, according to land mass, according to all. Yes. Once the correct formula is in place, then we look and say, aha, who is losing? We say Mandera is losing. Why is it losing? Because previously it has the wrong formula. Secondly, we have reduced the allocation for land mass from 10% to 8%. They lose this. Now, if they're going to lose this, then as a country, as a people, we say, how do we cushion them so that they don't lose? But it is not factored in the formula. It is as something we decide as a country. But we cannot falsify the formula because it will not work. Any formula you put to work for Mandera should work for Kisumu, should work for Kajiado, should work for Kakamega. We cannot punish counties because they have people.
And that's what Honorable Mutabo says. It should be scientific. Now, there's the other formula, the one being fronted by Senator Mithika Linturi, that would have 270 billion be given as equitable share, and then the rest be shared according to the Commission of Revenue Allocation formula. Do you think this could bring a semblance of the equitability that we are all trying to get? Honorable Mutambo?
To me, I think we are just juggling with a very serious issue here. Well, when it comes to division of revenue,
yes, we
need to understand that we have one country, and all the people who are in this country, they belong to this one Kenya. And every person has got an equal right, whether you live in Mandera or you live in Nairobi or you live in Kisumu. You have equal rights, and every person must be treated equally. And it is a question of just going down to the books and looking at how much am I going to spend to give services to a person who is living in Mandera, and how much am I going to spend to give services to the person who is living in Kiambu. And once you do that, it will be a very easy thing. And from where I sit, I think the problem is not how to share. The problem here is politics being played, and people not respecting the leaders, especially people who are not, the senators. Allow me to point it out very clearly.
Yes.
The senators are not respecting the will of the president, because the president has got the powers to lead this country. And he has sat down and said, this is the way I want to lead the country. And the people are not listening to him. And there are also some people who are also enjoying him, that they are telling him that we are supporting you in this, but on the other hand, they are not supporting. Because you need a political goodwill for you to run the country. And when the political goodwill is not there, then we get into this quagmire we are in now. Because if there was that political goodwill, we would not be in this position. He could have made just one meeting in the State House or anywhere, and he agreed with the leaders, and he said, this is the formula, and we are going to this formula because of A, B, C, D, and everybody agrees, and we move on. We should not have 8 or 9 sittings for Senate to come up with a division, a decision on how to share revenue. Remember, we've been sharing this revenue for 7 good years. We've been sharing, and we never had this. Actually, many Kenyans never knew anything about a division of revenue bill in the Senate. They only had it in Parliament, and after going to Senate, it was Muswaki. Everybody gets what they're supposed to get. But because there's an issue of political interest and political division in the country, that's why you are getting all what you are getting today. So my take is that there is disrespect to the president, who is the leader of our country, and if people who are respecting him and those who are purporting to support him, if they do so from their heart, they could just have a meeting with him, sit down on a round table, and it will be done. So I'm sure we have so many experts in our country who can sit down and reason out the way Mutambo is reasoning, that there is the issue of allocating resources to counties is to give services to Kenyans, and let us see how much do we need to give services to people of Kifutui, Makueni, Machakos, Kiambu, and where are we going to spend more money this time to give these services to these people? Because those who are in Kitui, they are arguing that our roads are bad and we need more money to fix. Those who are saying we are many people and we need big hospitals. So those kind of allegations or those kind of cries need to be listened to by experts, and they come up with an advice to the president and now to the Senate, and then they are brought together. They are told the reason why this bill is, money is being divided like this is because of this reason. We just don't give out money just like that. Remember, every person, wherever they are taxpayer. Whether they live in Mandera or in Kajiado or in Malindi, they are taxpayers and they have equal rights. We cannot say we are going to build a good hospital in Kiambu and we don't build a good hospital in Mandera or in Garissa. Every Kenyan has an equal right, and every decision must be reached with the consensus and with understanding the needs of Kenyans.
Okay, Mr. Mutambo, let me bring in Mr. Weda on this one. When you hear of the mythical Inturi formula, I mean, it does bring that equitability as far as 270 billion is concerned. And then I'd like you also to comment on the political undertones that are quite clear. Mr. Mutambo has pointed it out, but of course, I'd like your take on that too.
Yeah, I think the decision by the proposal by Mithika also is basically socialism and science. I think the senators should bite the bullet today and say we used the wrong formula previously. We want to implement the right formula. Once the right formula is implemented, the National Assembly and Senate can then allocate additional funds to cushion those counties that would lose. Why are they losing? Because previously we had used erroneous figures. Secondly, amounts that are now being paid, the percentage for landmass has been reduced. Services are given to people. Services are not given to tracts of land or mountains. So as much as every Kenyan is entitled, we are all entitled, but why punish people because they're mean?
Yeah.
I receive my services in Machakos County, and therefore we are many. Are you going to do a road towards my brother Mtambo's village to serve his cousin because he's a Kenyan and he's paying tax? We have to do it in a commercial, economic manner. That's how we grow. So that the senators, some of them are sulking. They are emotional. They don't want to take the hard decision. They want to be nice to their colleagues. They want to be nice to some members, some other counties. And also some are saying, because the president pinched our nose, it is time we are sulking and we are going to show him we are no longer in sync. Added with the fact that the Senate majority leader is also still learning, is learning the ropes. So he seems not to know how to whip these people, to cajole them, to talk to them. So part of the problem, which I think is 40%, is the sulking state of most of the senators.
Right.
It is not about the revenue. And then they want to look nice. They want to look nice to others. If Kakamega is gaining because of numbers of people, population, and Lamu is losing because of numbers of population, let us not pontificate about it, pretending we love Lamu so much and we hate Kakamega so much. No, let us put in a formula that is backed by figures, science, and then if somebody is losing, then we will still look into our coffers and cushion them. This pontificating should stop. Those senators who are sulking because they were kicked around last by the president in the reorganization. Please stop it and put Kenyan first. Put Oga first.
Okay.
Put majority of Kenyans first.
Okay, Mr. Mutambo, Honorable Mutambo, Mr. Weda has talked about the sulking, and we heard at the Senate, Senator Irungu Kang'ata telling the senators that he's going to tell the people of Central that they are the reason why they are not getting the right amount of money that they need. Is this the way, even though you are of the opinion that they should fall in line with what the president wants, is this the way to actually cajole support from senators?
First and foremost, before I go to your question, yes, I would want to put it very clear that I totally disagree with this business of let us allocate this amount of money, then let us cushion these others later. This to me, I don't know where it's coming from, because if you use your brains, if I were to get 10 billion, and today you give me 7, and you tell me I'll give you 3 later, then why are you cushioning me? Why not to apportion it to me at once? That's what I don't understand. And the issue of equalization fund, everybody will come up with their own issues in their county. Those who live in, they will tell you that we also have landing issues. Even if we are many, we have landing issues, and we need to be cushioned. Those who live in Mandera, they will tell you that we did not get this and we need to get equalization fund. So everybody will come up with their own issues. Let me tell you this, there's no county which will have no issues. those who live in Viga, they will tell you that we have nothing apart from stones. So we need money. Everybody will come up with issues. So the cure of this is just to allocate this money as per the services. And that's why I'm saying we need to call upon experts to give us the reason why this county should receive this amount of money.
The scientific approach.
On the round table and get understanding of how this money is shared. Because it is supposed to be shared as per the need and as per the services, not as per the who has what. If you go, you will get it wrong, and that's where we will never solve this problem. So I am perturbed by the narratives going around that Mukangata will go and tell Muranga people, it is these people who don't want you to get your money. There's no money which belongs to anyone. It is money which belongs to Kenyans.
Yes.
We are all at the same. There's no a Kenya who lives in Muranga and a Kenya who lives in Wenda's village. We are all Kenyans and we all have equal rights and we should be treated equally. And if the government deems it right to spend money to do infrastructure in Mandera and spend billions and use 200 million to do infrastructure in Muranga because the roads are not too long and in Mandera they are long, so be it and let that money go there and do the development there.
Okay.
This is the issue.
Now, this delay is going into the second month, even after that the new financial year has started. Mr. Weda, I'll pose this one to you. Do you think it is a failure in leadership? This has been pointed out by Senator Johnson Sakaja, who recently was speaking fondly of memories of the days of Isaac Ruto, saying that there was better leadership back then. And then we have had COJ Chair Wycliffe Oparanya coming under fire for fence sitting on this matter up until recently, where he then backed the Petronila Were formula. Do you think it is a failure in leadership?
Obviously, you can see Oparanya doing more of campaigns, flip-flopping. He has forgotten about the issues of the county. He is more into looking for Baba and collecting people than working on revenue allocation. Secondly, the Council of Governor is leading, did not even come out strongly on the position they support. They have been walking up and down, running here and there. Then you come to the Senate, I said, my brother, my younger brother, Honorable is still learning the ropes. He just woke up one day and he found himself as a majority leader. So he walks around like as a child. He keeps on saying, I'll report you to her dad. I'll report you to mom. He should by now have known that you cajole these people. You call them. You walk to their offices. You go to their houses. Some of them who are difficult, you call your boss. If Orengo is being difficult, you will talk to Honorable Raila, who will call him. If Sakaja is being too naughty, you talk to boss himself, who will call Sakaja. That is how you whip people. You play politics behind the scenes. Then when you sit in the Senate, you sit like rabbis, and then you people vote. But him, he comes, it's like he doesn't know how the Senate is going to vote. Then he starts wailing and talking and threatening people and embarrassing the senators. If you tell a senator that if you don't vote like that, I'll report you to Raila, and you say it on live TV, I'm telling you, even if it was red, I would try to be difficult. But if you talk to me and Baba talks to me and Uhuru talks to me and Archbishop Olisapit talks to me, I would mellow down.
Yeah.
He should know how to whip people. That is him, and also Bwana Pobisio. All these people. The stalemate is about sulking. The stalemate is not about there is something so wrong with the formula that it can't pass. They're just saying we have found something small and we are going to use it to knock and pay back the president and pay back the Rungu Kamata and even pay back the governors. So let this leadership put their house in order because the counties are suffering. Money has not been released, and the leaders, as they take tea and they wine and dine, there is some, let them just put Mr. President, Honorable Raila, Honorable Mudavadi, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, sit down together, quickly call each other on a phone like this on Zoom and talk. There will be a formula. There is money, and we move on. But therefore, I can say leadership is the problem. We always say from where I come from here, the Lake region, that a fish sometimes, if it rots, you don't look at the tail or the center, you look at the head. It is the leadership in this particular matter, and it should be reorganized.
Okay, Mr. Mutambo, the fish rots from the head. That's what on Mr. Weda says. Now, when you hear of this, and obviously Senators Kangata and Senator Pogisho are under baptism by fire, what would you have it be like in terms of the leadership that is currently overseeing this particular situation that is unending, seemingly, Mr. Mutambo?
I cannot agree no more with the weather. This is one of the point he has put it very, 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 very correctly. Yeah. The leadership is to blame here. The leadership of the Senate. You see, senators are human beings. They are people who need to be talked to. But I've been a person who has been in the parliament when we used to discuss about bills, and because I used to oppose so many bills, and I could hear Duale coming and sit me down, tell me, Mutambo, you want to oppose this, the reason why we are bringing this, it will bring benefit to Kenyans like this, like this. I may be having my own thinking, but the moment somebody talks to me, they explain this to me, it sinks to me, I understand, I will change my voting pattern. Whether my party to talk like this or that, I will listen to that leader. So I want to say that there's lack of leadership in the Senate. It is unfortunate that these guys were just elected. These senators were just elected. The other day, and they were bombed by this huge task or organization of revenue. And it's like it's too much for them. And before they could even warm their seats, they were
thrown into the deep end. Now, Mr. Mutambo, I'd like you to comment on something that is developing currently. We are apparently, Bomet Senator Christopher Lagat is having a situation at his home in Nyayo Estate, and he, speaking through his window, said that they are trying to arrest him because, well, the reason was given was that this is a quarantine issue. He needs to go into quarantine. But apparently, according to him, this is to prevent him from voting at the Senate. What do you make of this narrative of, arm twisting when it comes to the current formula that is backed by the president and Raila Odinga?
To me, I think arresting senators who are leaders at this particular moment will send a very bad signal. If somebody had an issue, you had all the time, why arrest them this time of voting? I don't think this is the right thing to do, and it will send a very bad signal, and it will not look good. We are not preventing police from doing their work. They have all the right to arrest people when the law calls upon them to do so. Yes. But there is timing. There is timing. Imagine, I want you to understand, this is a leader who can be summoned, who can go to police station if it's so required. But we've been heard all these stories that senators will be arrested. Yeah. And when it is implemented now, it speaks louder than what is being said out there. So to me, I think it's a bad show. Yes. We should not do this. If he has committed any crime, the police has the right to arrest him, and we cannot prevent police from arresting anybody. Anybody can be arrested by police at any time. But we also need to look at the situation in the country, which is and the interest of the country comes first than anything else.
Mr. Weda, briefly on arm twisting, what do you think of this?
That is a rotten method of doing things. I talked about cajoling, I talked about talking. So whoever is trying to do that, either using the DCI or the DPP or the PRA, or is trying to deconstruct Kenya. And I can tell you, you do that today, when we open books of history, we will prosecute you. So do it now wrongly, but your day will come. Let us cajole it. I'm telling you, we must learn to persuade, to talk to people nicely. Yes. People have a way of mellowing down. That senator is not difficult. You just go and talk to them nicely. There are people who can talk to them. There are people who can persuade them. There are people who can give them a view, and they change. Let us not bring back force and blood.
Right, and that is Ambrose Weda, who